Hey, everyone. It's your girl, Hennither Bianca again, aka HR Lady, aka HR Biz Success Coach. I'm super pumped about the new year. Happy New Year, Happy New Year, Happy New Year. If this is your first time watching, I am Hennither Bianca again, and I help HR professionals turn their HR skills into a profitable business. So, wanted to hop on really quick and just talk to you all about 3 tips. So you all know there's an upcoming course, but I've been getting a lot of different questions just about working. Can I start my own HR consulting company? Can I really start an HR business if I'm still working full time? I'm already a mom. I'm already doing this for ministry. I'm already doing this. I'm already doing that. Is this really possible? Is this really something that I can do? And of course, I'm going to tell you yes. For those of you that know me, you know I'm a teacher and an encourager, and I truly just don't believe in excuses. I only believe in solutions. And I truly also, one of my philosophies is that you can create your own experience. So what somebody else does, how their life is, doesn't necessarily mean that it has to look the same for you. So here's the bottom line. My story. I was working full-time for years because I just didn't really, I envisioned that I would be able to start my own company in terms of working full-time in the company and it being big. I remember that vision kind of being there, but I was also very terrified about leaving my good old government job. And I was making really good money. I was working with some phenomenal people, but the reality is that I just wasn't ready to leave. And I always tell people, listen, being a full-time business owner, company leader, entrepreneur, whatever it is that you call yourself, it is not for everyone. And it doesn't have to be. You don't have to feel bad about it, about not being in your business full time. There are many people that they're like, hey, I can build my business very successfully while I'm working, right? So I want to encourage you that your job, especially for those of you that are in places that, is really supporting you, that's really helping you thrive, recognize that your job is your dream funder. It's supporting you financially so you can work towards your dreams. In the first part of you starting your HR company, you might not necessarily have the income being generated from your business. So you're using the income from your job to help you with marketing, right? You might use the income from your job to help you build your website, right? And let's not forget about all of the perks that come with working. One of the things that I miss the most is being able to interact with people at the water cooler, okay? I do miss that. I miss being able to pray with people in the janitor's closet and, just those type of things. Holidays. I miss gaining weight at every holiday party because people were bringing all of their baked goods and all of that good stuff. And let me tell you, when I had my first child and second child, yep, because I had my first 2 children while I was still working and I still had my company, that I got more baby shower gifts from my coworkers than I did from my really large West African family. And if any of you know any West Africans, we deep out here. Okay. So, there's so many different perks. And let's not forget the training that you get. Oh my goodness. Free training, paid training, right? You get to learn all of these different skills on your company's dime. So there's a lot of great perks about working. So again, if that's not what you're called to do, don't feel bad about it. You can definitely still build whatever it is that you are trying to build on a part-time basis while you're working full-time. I did that for years. My initial goal, I didn't really even have a financial goal, to be honest. I just wanted to make sure that I just knew I needed to do it, right? But when I started seeing that I could replace my full-time income if I just did a little bit more, I'm like, okay, okay, right? So it was nice to know that I had a backup option, even though that wasn't really my intent to have a backup option, if that makes sense. So I wanted to share with you all just a few tips on what you can do if you are still working your full-time job and you're like, hey, I'm trying to grow, excuse me, I'm trying to grow my HR consulting business on a part-time basis. I want to know if you are in that position right now. If that is you, if you're working full-time, you want to start your business on a part-time basis, I want you to go ahead and comment below. Let me know what challenges you might be having, just in case I need to kind of come back up and follow up on some of those things. One of the challenges that I had is that, oh my gosh, there were clients that they had questions while I was at work. So I totally believe in integrity. However, there were sometimes I felt like I just needed to answer the phone while I was at work, right? So I did do that, but I just didn't feel, I had to like go sneak into the janitor's closet, like, hey, yeah, oh, you can't hear me? Can you hear me now? Right? Doing all of that stuff, and in reality, it just didn't work out. It just didn't work out. It did work out, but it just wasn't working out for me because I felt like I was shortchanging them, and then I felt like I was sneaking. It was just a whole big old mess. But I didn't think how I could handle that at the time, right? So my very first tip is for you to know who you are serving. Okay, you need to, hopefully you have a questionnaire that you are providing, or questions that you are asking your potential clients, so that way you kind of know all about them in advance and they can know all about you. One of the things I love to do is to provide my clients with a new client orientation, so that way all of the expectations are stated up front about my hours and what my team members do and what you can expect, what not to expect. Because just because you have them signing an agreement, hopefully y'all are doing that, just because your client is signing an agreement doesn't necessarily mean they are reading it. And not everyone's agreement actually talks about how you interact, how you engage. Many independent contractor contractual agreements, or many of your HR services agreement, might only have items in there that's specifically talking to the scope of work, terms of payment, things of that nature. So if that is the case, you want to make sure that you are knowing who you're serving. You're making sure that they know about how they can communicate with you, and they in turn also know the same, right? So when you know who you serve, you know that, hey, this person, this type of company, this type of client is going to need more from me than what I can provide for them at this particular time. If you know that you're working full time, the reality is, if you're trying to offer services to companies, you want to be mindful of what type of services you're offering, right? Because if you are handling their employee relations concerns, when are most employee relations concerns, when are most of those things happening? It's happening during business hours, at the same time that you are at work, right? So don't go broadcasting saying, yeah, you can call me at any time. If you have an employee relations concerns, just call me, just email me. You might not be able to check your email. You might not be able to answer the phone, right? So what systems, what processes do you have in place? And I didn't have that up front. I'm telling you, I'm just kind of sharing with you some of the lessons learned that I've gone through, and now I have those systems in place. But that's definitely a big thing, because you don't want a company to, say, or you don't want to lack credibility just because of non-responsiveness due to you being at work. And then some people ask, well, should I tell people? Should I tell my clients that I work? I think it's just completely up to you. I do know that I ran into this as well, that there were some clients that were like, hey, well, how do I know that we would be a priority if you have a full-time job, right? So it just kind of depends. It just really depends. You kind of have to use a judgment call. I'm not an advocate of you sharing that you're working full time, because then again, it just kind of looks like, oh, this is just a side thing. So when you know who you serve, you can know up front if you need to accept them as a client or not. Not all business is good business. There might be a great company, great product, whatever it is. However, it doesn't mean that you have the capacity to serve them. If you find yourself in that type of predicament, what I want to encourage you to do is to collaborate with others, right? So if you are working on a full-time basis, you're building your HR consulting business or services on a part-time basis, and you get a client that needs more than what you can provide, collaborate with another HR consultant. Collaborate with someone else. That's actually what I ended up doing. I ended up needing to collaborate and connect with someone else that could write resumes, because the fact of the matter was that the companies that needed HR services, I had a capacity. I couldn't do but two while I was working. I mean, really, two was stretching it. Providing HR services, HR outsourcing services for companies. Oh my gosh, the ones that had us on retainer at that particular time, I couldn't do really but more than one. The two, when I had two, it was stretching it because I was already working a full-time job, had these clients, I was a mom, ministry, you name it. And at that time I was trying to date. Your girl was back on the scene, right? So, but because I actually started looking for other HR professionals to support me and collaborate with, that's how I found my husband. Well, that's how he found me, right? Because a man receives favor when he finds a wife. Anywho, so know who you serve so that way you can serve them correctly, okay? Second tip I want to share is to master your time. My calendar is everything. So if you are bad at your timing, I don't know what you're going to do. Because when you're working full time, you have other priorities when you get home. And if you're anything like how I was, you start pushing things to the side because it's like, I'm so tired, I'm so beat. But if you master your time, if you start scheduling everything, when I say everything, I mean everything, everything, everything. I mean, literally, there's a module in my course, Hire Yourself, Turn Your HR Skills into a Profitable Business. I literally share my calendar, and literally, I mean, you have to master your time, scheduling when to call people, scheduling when to send emails, and put it on the calendar. You will be surprised what that does to you psychologically when you just start to schedule everything. And again, that might not work for all of you, but this is what I had to do. When I schedule everything, it allows you to master your priorities a whole lot more, right? When you're scheduling, like, hey, check your business email for 15 minutes, right, during the day. And hey, follow up with this particular client at 3:00. Work on your business plan 6 p.m. You start realizing what you have time for and what you don't have time for, right? Because what you don't plan for just literally can take over you. So master your time. Master your time. Use a calendar. I prefer to use Google Calendar now. So I have that integrated with all of my business events, and I share that with my family so they know. I mean, I schedule family time. I know that might sound really weird. I have to schedule everything. Now, obviously, there are some days that I could just freely just do whatever, but I schedule free time too. I sure do. Just saying. Third thing that I would say is to become a weekend warrior. Most of you are working Monday through Friday. And again, if this is something that you're really called to, if you're really called to starting your HR consulting business, if you're really called to just doing something different, starting a legacy for your family, if you know that you're called to it and it's not just a hobby, even for those of you that are like, hey, I'm just trying to do something on the side, whatever it is, you want to become a weekend warrior. If you are subscribed to our newsletter, you know we sent out an email called Are You a Weekend Warrior? I think we did that like last week. And what I mean by that is use your weekends. Believe it or not, you can build a really successful business on a part-time basis on just the weekends. That's 48 hours on Saturday and Sunday. 48 hours. You can literally, but you still need sleep. But what you do, it's compressed time and it's a lot, but I'm telling you, 48 hours is a long time. Think about it. You are at work for 40 hours a week. And right now we're in COVID, so most of you are probably working remotely, right? Think about utilizing your weekend time wisely. Wake up a little earlier, get yourself started, work on your productivity, figure out the things that would really work. Work on the things that you know is a productivity time, right? So one of the things that I teach is that you have different levels of productivity time. Sometimes I'm not really the best person to be looking at anybody's policy at nighttime. right? So I need to make sure that if I have policies that I need to write or things that I need to really read or do, I try to do some of those things in the morning because that's when my productivity time is. That's when I'm at my maximum level. So make sure you know like when your optimum levels of efficiency is, so that way you can do some of your most important things in that particular time period, and then schedule it out for the rest of the weekend. Being a weekend warrior was one of the things that really helped me take our company to the next level, and just turning from, just getting a few $100s every month and starting to make five figures, on a monthly basis. So that's what really helped me when I was still working. So I hope those tips were helpful to you. Again, first tip is to know who you serve, know the type of services that you offer, and know the type of clients that you can work with given your capacity while you're working full time. Second thing is master your time. Live by a calendar, whether it's a physical calendar planner, or you're doing it through Google Drive like me, electronic calendar. Make sure you master your time. Another quick tip is to use some type of electronic appointment scheduling system. That is, oh my gosh, I wish I had that when I was still working, because that would have been phenomenal. So you can tell people, so especially for those of you that don't want to let your clients know that you're still working, what you want to do is to say, hey, you can schedule an appointment with me. So that way you only have blocks of time on that appointment scheduler that you are available, right? And then when they schedule the appointment with you, then you know that that you are calling them at that particular time. So if you're still working, you could take a break at that particular time. You can set your hours for your lunch breaks. Oh my gosh, I was the queen of mastering things during my lunch break. Couldn't tell me that. I always left for my lunch break. Always, 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 always left. Let me just say always. Majority of the time I left for my lunch breaks, right? So keep that in mind. And then tip number 3 is become a weekend warrior. Don't, I know that you're trying to relax, but again, I'm speaking to those of you that that you are called to this. You want to become a weekend warrior. Maximize your weekends. Stay up late on Fridays. Wake up early on Saturday mornings, right? Utilize. I'm telling you, master what you could do on weekend. What you could do in 8 hours on a Saturday is phenomenal. You would be surprised. So master that, master that, master that. I hope that these tips were helpful to those of you that are working full time, just trying to start your business, trying to figure out how do I have time to build my HR consulting company. I hope that these tips were helpful. If they were helpful, I want you to go ahead and comment below. Let me know which tip is most helpful. And again, I want to know some of the challenges that you might be experiencing for those of you that are working a full-time job, or just maybe you just have other things going on and you're trying to start your business on a part-time basis. Let me know what challenges you are having, and let me know what success you're having as well. So comment below, let me know how that's going. If you want to stay connected, go to kingdomhr.biz, kingdomhr.biz. That's where you'll find how to subscribe, and you'll find out all of the different things that we are doing with kingdomhr.biz. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to command your day.